What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we are going to check out the ENGL Fireball 25. Let's do it! Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle, and what I do is I take all sorts of awesome high gain related guitar gear, I record it with a simple SM57 setup, and I give you the unprocessed audio on your end. Well, I guess that camera's just kinda doing its own thing. So if you're into E-standard thrash riffs, dropsy hardcore riffs, and dudes that currently have a cashew hangover, and yes, I'm pretty sure that that's a real thing, you're in the right place. Consider hitting the like button, subscribing on the way out, so you don't miss any more of my stuff. Thanks! All right, everyone, welcome back to ENGL Week. Up for today, we have the ENGL Fireball 25. Now, I have made it no secret that the ENGL Fireball 100 is my personal favorite ENGL amplifier. It just resonates the most with me. It's the most simple, straightforward ENGL. It's got the most raw aggressiveness. It's got the most forward mids, at least, from my experience. But before I was able to even get my hands on the 100, I actually came across this Fireball 25 and figured why not give this one a spin while I'm still trying to find that ENGL Fireball 100. And holy shit, was I just completely blown away by this thing. This is a 25 watt all tube 2-channel amplifier. This has big boy 6L6 tubes. This is not one of the small lunchbox amps that has EL84s or 6V6s in it. And in my personal experience, I have used this at multiple band practices. I even used it for a live show. This thing has insane headroom for its form factor. It just really does not hit that headroom ceiling anywhere near where you think a 25 watt amp would for the high gain stuff. It stays clean, it doesn't compress down, stays punchy, it never gets that nasty tube compression going that happens when you reach the headroom of a modern high gain amp that's designed to have a clean power amp. And on top of that, it sounds pretty faithful to the Fireball 100 because I got a Fireball 100. I've compared them. We're gonna compare them in a video here during ENGL Week, which has turned into ENGL Month. And much like the Fireball 100, this thing doesn't have a ton of features. It's got ENGL's power scaling on the back, so you can essentially dial it in with full power, mid power, low power, or completely off. You can bypass the speaker if you want to play this thing directly into your DAW or something like that. There's a line out on here, so you can use it for that. But other than that, that's pretty much it as far as the features. It's got a noise gate, it's got an effects loop. The noise gate works fantastically, and it's just a raw, brutal, high gain amplifier. And we're gonna check it out with a few different guitars, a few different overdrives. So let's get that started. For that intro clip, I was using my Balaguer Typhon with a Seymour Duncan distortion in the bridge. I had my favorite boost, the Deadwell Duality, on in front of the amplifier. The amp was set as you can see here, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dial everything back to noon. We're gonna dial in a quick tone, and then we're gonna check out some low output pickups, an active pickup, and a 7-string. So let's get to it. All right, so as you can see, we've still got a decent amount of gain, even with the gain down at 9 o'clock. This is not an amp, guys, that I would be using for mid-gain or low-gain tones. It's just the saturation and the voicing of this amp is just way too modern, and it's not really gonna sound all that great for that stuff. Let's go ahead and bump that gain right up to 11 o'clock. We've touched nothing else because honestly, the amp seems fairly balanced the way that we have it set at the moment. All right, so the gain and saturation are starting to come on. The low end on this amp is great. Even with the bass at noon, there's no like resonance control or anything on the power amp, and it still just has a really nice punch to it. The low end is a tad thuddy without an overdrive in front. And what I mean is there's some low mid frequencies there that kind of just make it sound punchy, but also it doesn't have that like clanky low end that a lot of modern metal tones seem to have. But with that said, the EQ is still nice and balanced. The gain structure on this amp has a rawness to it that I absolutely love. Like, it's not super saturated, it's not super compressed. There's actually a little bit of like crunchiness to it that I really dig. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bump it up to noon. There's something going on in the mids there that just sounds really, really raw and super mean to my ears. And I'm a fan. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna bounce that presence back just a little bit. I'm gonna dial the mids and the treble up a tad. Okay, pulling that presence back has kind of hollowed it out a little bit. I have noticed on both the Fireball 25 and 100 that really bumping the mids and the treble and pushing the presence back just a little bit leads to the amp sounding a little bit more open. Ah, yeah, that is mean. It's very raw. Let's go ahead and bump that gain up to about 7 out of 10 on the dial. Sounds mean to me. I'm gonna dime it just because you guys are gonna yell at me if I don't dime it. So surprisingly, like I said, there's something going on in the gain structure where it enhances this like grindy mid frequency when you push the gain. And unlike a lot of amps where when you push the gain, it kind of fattens and darkens everything up, it's not really happening here. It's actually giving it more of like a mid grind aggression. And even so, like, it's not muddy or anything with the gain maxed out. Yeah, surprisingly, I mean, maybe the low end is a little bit less punchy because of, I'm sure there's some compression going on with that much gain, but we're gonna dial it back to about 7. I liked it right there. I'm gonna go ahead and kick on the mid boost, and we're gonna check it out back to back with that mid boost on and off. All right, so it's a little bit meaner in the low mids with the mid boost off, but that mid boost, I can pretty much guarantee you're gonna need it in order to get this thing to cut in a band mix because it's kind of adding in all of the frequencies that are gonna stand out in a mix. And as you guys can probably hear, like, there's no noise from this thing in the room at all, which I find absolutely awesome. We're gonna turn the noise gate off. That's with no noise gate. I'm gonna turn my noise gate off because I always run a dead weld golem in all of my videos. All right, it's time for a boost. Let's go ahead and kick on something that everybody knows and loves. We're gonna kick on the Ibanez TS9, the Boss TS9. What the hell's going on? All right, so with the TS9 on now, I'm gonna back the mids down a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit more treble. We're gonna add some more bass for sure. And then I'm gonna back the gain down because you could tell the front end of the amp getting hit with a hot pickup and it was creating just kind of a mushy gain structure. So here it is with the gain back down a little bit. Ah, yes. This thing with a boost out front is honestly one of my favorite tones. It sounds really, really good. All right, sounds awesome to me. Let's go ahead and switch to a guitar with low output pickups. All right, guys, so I've got my Happy Cable Company cable plugged into my 2023 Gibson Les Paul Standard. This is the 60s model with the 60s burst buckers in it. I have touched nothing on the amp and the overdrive is still on out in front. Here's what we got. Well, that sounds awesome, and I'm kind of liking the openness of this pickup with the amp. Let's turn that mid boost off. Sounds awesome to me. Honestly, it sounds great. The amp seems a little bit less open in the frequencies, but there's a little bit more top end sizzle by dialing it this way. I could go either way, man. I think it's gonna depend on the guitar. Don't take what I just said out of context. One riff real quick with no overdrive on. That even sounds good, but you know, I like my overdrives out front. It's a little bit less saturated, a little bit less compressed, a little bit less punchy without the overdrive in front. But let's go on the other end of the spectrum and let's grab a guitar with an active pickup. All right, guys, so I have my LTD Black Metal Phoenix here with the Ryan Bruce Fluff Signature Fishman pickup in the bridge, and we are on the active setting. I've touched nothing on the amp. There are no boosts on. All right, so right off the bat, we've got way more gain. I mean, this pickup literally sounds like there's a boost active. It's got that kind of vibe going on it. The top end is rolled back a little bit. Let's roll the treble up. All right, so that's, I mean, it doesn't feel like I'm playing without a boost right now. It's really reacting well to the active pickup. What happens if we dial in kind of like a scoopy tone? Oh, that is so mean. Let's dial that gain back, let's dial that bass up. That is just begging to be downtuned. All right, that sounds super nasty. Again, I would like maybe a little bit more upper mid aggressiveness. Let's try the mid boost. There it is. That sounds awesome. Last but not least, let's hit that 7 string and we're gonna call it a day. This amp rules. I love this thing. All right, guys, so for the 7 string, we've got my Schecter Hellraiser Hybrid PT. Yep, that's what it is. That's all of it. That's all the title. Let's hear this thing. I have not touched anything. I just turned the boost off because this pickup is really hot. All right, so that sounds pretty mean. I like a boost though. You guys know me. I'm gonna turn on the Electric Eye Mud Killer. Oh, that sounds really good. That's like really clean sounding. Let's back the gain down just a tad and maybe the treble down just a tad. That may be one of my favorite 7 string tones that I've had on this channel. Let's hit a riff. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me on the ENGL Fireball 25. What did you guys think about it? Let me know down in the comments. Obviously you know my thoughts, I think it's rad. But I want to hear from you guys. Do you have any experience with this amp? Do you own it? Have you played it? Have you used it in a band setting? Are you like me and are super impressed with the level of headroom that this thing has? This thing hangs all day with bigger amps. Let me know down in the comments. I basically just answered that for you, but I will not accept any other answers. But make sure to subscribe if you're not so you don't miss any more ENGL month content because I've got a whole bunch of ENGL amplifiers. We're gonna compare this to the Iron Ball and to the Fireball 100 among many other things, and I'm sure that you don't want to miss it, so be subscribed. And if you want to get one of these amps for yourself or you just want to help my channel out, down in the description of this video is my Sweetwater affiliate link. Click that Sweetwater affiliate link and you can pick up this head, a bunch of other ENGL heads, or any musical gear that your heart desires, and if you use that link, I get a little bit of a commission. I would really appreciate it because it honestly really does help the channel more than you know. So that's it. I'm getting out of here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.
You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.